Hello, me again, Dr. Garrett Dickers. Just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk you through the course schedule. This is a Google Doc, which means it is possible that it could be changed as the course goes along, usually for your benefit. So for, if we need to stretch out a module or if some due dates need to change, etc. You'll also see that what I do at the top of it, because it is a Google Doc and a living document, is mention the last time I revised it, and that way you can kind of keep up with if it's been revised since you last looked at it. I work in modules in this class, especially because, as I mentioned in my overview to the class and to the syllabus, there's really a lot that can be covered. I have a doctorate in comparative international development education, and I cannot cover all of that in 16 short weeks with you. And so what I do is instead kind of bracket big pieces of the puzzle. So first we start by thinking about global perspectives in our current situation and context, U.S. education. Not all of us have only U.S. education experience, and not all of us are necessarily U.S. educators. But it is the environment in which we are currently working. And so we really need to get a sense for kind of what are the basic ideas and thoughts around global perspectives in education today. Now, as we know, global is a big term, and so we'll talk about some of that too, as well as what exactly do we mean when we talk about global education and other different ways of approaching it. And again, we just kind of talk about some of the major components or pieces of that because of our time limitations. Then module 2, so module 1 you'll see is about 2 weeks. We start, of course, in the middle, today being the middle of a unit, middle of the week as well. We have one synchronous session. In module 2, we're really thinking about comparative education as a field. What does that mean? How do we compare? Why do we compare? What does comparative education research look like? Some of you may be engaged in comparative education research and not even know it. Several of my students in the past have engaged in comparative ed research to a certain extent as well, and so we can talk about what that means and some of those foundational theoretical perspectives. Also have one synchronous session. Module 3 is education around the world. So we're really thinking about economic, political, social context of education. We're thinking about specific country-based education, which is comparative education, where we're thinking about one specific country or one specific region. Spring break, of course. Take a break. Even if it's not spring break for work, take a break from schoolwork. Give yourself a little bit time to reboot. And then we move into intercultural awareness. We'll select for you some books to choose from that are kind of under this big, broad umbrella of intercultural awareness, but also are considered to be connected to education, some more explicitly than others. And so you'll pick one of those and be working through some book activities, some choice activities about things that, as well as going deep into a topic of your own interest and finding research-based articles from a comparative perspective, international perspective about your topic. We have 2 synchronous sessions in this module. Then we move into global explorations. Again, like I said, there's so many things we could talk about. What I do in designing this module is give you choice, like pick 3 or 4 of the kind of big topics like refugee and immigrant education or study abroad and international education at universities. And then you can go deep into whichever one you feel like learning more about. That includes Easter. We have one synchronous session with that one. And then module 6 is really where you're going deep again into your topics and presenting those and sharing those with us as well. So gives you a kind of good sense for that. You'll see that many of these things don't have explicit due dates on them yet. I will update the course schedule as we do that, but I did. You'll also see that some of the ones that do have due dates are those that, just to make you know that sometimes things are due before class at that Monday session so that we can talk about them in that class. In this case, for example, you'll be choosing a country around the world that you're interested in learning more about their education system and pulling together some really high quality resources and sharing some information with us about that country. And we'll be using that sharing time in our synchronous session on the 20th of February. So hopefully it just gives you a sense for the course schedule. You'll find those materials if you go to Canvas, to the home page. I'll switch to student view real quick. You'll see modules, and there's your course schedule. So that link will always be there. It's a Google Doc, like I said, so when I update it, you will automatically see the updates as well. So that's going to always be here housed under important course materials. So if you have any questions about any of that, don't hesitate to let me know.